theme of this lecture series asserts what should be common knowledge. The law matters to you. Of course it does. Why then have a series of lectures about this subject? Could we simply get up and go home and leave the law alone, or at least let the lawyers worry about that? But the more you think about it, the more you realize that it is a much more serious topic than the statement itself suggests. The first and perhaps most important question that comes to mind with respect to the theme is, what is the law? Is it, as Jonathan Swift said, like a cobweb, which may catch some small flies, but let wasps and hornets break through? So much for the idea of law for one and law for all. Is it what is codified in volumes upon volumes of mysterious books, accessible only to a group of professionals who we call lawyers? Or is it what the people accept and obey? Is Martin Luther King right when he said, an unjust law is no law at all? Or can we agree with Immanuel Kant's view that the touchstone of everything that can be concluded as a law for a people lies in the question whether the people could have imposed such a law on itself? I pose these questions because I believe we all agree that laws are necessary in every society so that we don't descend into chaos and barbarity. In fact, we often hear that one of the cornerstones of a democracy is the rule of law. Is it really? Or is just another instrument of power in the hands of a privileged few who lord it over the masses? Some scholars have described what they call rule of law as the conscience of society, the essence of what we believe to be right or wrong, developed over millennia into a code of justice that regulates what can be considered acceptable behavior in a civilized society. However, what is the link between law and justice, between law and morality, between law and ethics? How is the law enacted? How is it enforced? And more importantly, how is it elaborated? Recent developments in the political arena on St. Martin have made almost every one of us a constitutional expert, which is not a bad thing, except that some lawyers may frown at the idea that laymen and laywomen seemingly want to usurp their field of expertise. The battle unleashed not too long ago by advocates of Article 59 and of Article 33 of the St. Martin Constitution resulted in a standoff that has polarized our population and damaged the image of politics and politicians while revealing the imperfections of the law. You will recall that I recently received the report of the Electoral Reform Committee, which was set up to address some of these issues before the next elections. Similarly, the ongoing criminal investigation dubbed Octopus has made the issue of vote buying a legal and political one. The intersection of law and politics is therefore another area which I hope this lecture series would shed some light on.
Yes, well, it's going very good, you know. I mean, I'm happy of the support for the people. The people came out in abundance, you know. Tickets are almost finished right now. So this will be the second special we do, and they make great use out of it. Gives a good feeling, you know. You put a lineup together, you put a show together, and the people appreciate it. So these little things where they're supporting makes you say, yes, we are on the right track. So after today, there's no more specials, you know. It's gonna be $30 in advance and $40 on the day of the show. So To get your tickets at Van Dorp, Adolphus Office Supply, Oasis Food, SOS Radio, and Domino's Pizza. So, you know, we got Telcel, Night of the Hitmakers again featuring Tsunami. We got Kes the Band. We got Control. We have Tanya Seval, Mika Ben, and Jamal Ferdinand. So the dance floor is back and it's on. The countdown is on. We got about 24 days to go to the show. So get yourself prepared because it's going to be great, ecstatic.
And from what I too have been able to gather and hearing from several school bus drivers and school bus owners is that they are very, very concerned with not only the notification that this service is going to be outsourced, but according to the drivers, according to the operators and the owners, without any input from their side. This is what I have been told by several persons, several school bus drivers and owners. And so looking at that again and again, I know that members of government have, especially this morning, Tuesday morning, spoken with some of the drivers and the owners. But while I can appreciate government's efforts, because I think it also has to do with keeping down the cost, even lowering the cost if you wish. And something that I think the government should look into where this matter is concerned is making sure, one, that the school bus drivers or the owners of the school buses, that they are organized in a proper fashion. I know there is an association. I don't know how operational the association is, but I know there is one, that's one. And then maybe as an association, in defense of their members, they can get the service for school bus transportation. And then government can establish what the budget would be, and then at least the entire service will be outsourced to those persons who are in the field work as far as driving is concerned. So I hope to get the opportunity briefly with the minister. We have already looked at that possibility. Of course, it requires further working out. You just don't take a responsibility of government and put it with another association. So, but I think it's worth looking into. It's a sort of empowerment for these persons, and if they are responsible, if you are responsible, you become accountable.
Telcel Night of the Hitmakers. Telcel Night of the Hitmakers. Saturday, April 23rd, 2016 at Carnival Village. Featuring Tsunami. Control. Tanya Seval. Mika Ben. Jean-Marc Ferdinand. Kes the Band. Tickets in advance $30, $40 on the day of the show. Ticket outlets, Van Dorp, Adolphus Office Supply, and Domino's Pizza. Partners, Telcel, Heineken, Accessible Ventures. This is an extra tight entertainment production. Just say I.
This is freedom, this is life. Happiness is all I'm seeking. Carpe diem, I'm seizing every day, not just the weekend. Here's to all the good times that have come to last. Here's to living in the now.
When you can afford what you crave, life just gets so good.
Alive and I'm feeling good, so good, so good, so good. Hey, I'm gonna live my life, feeling good, so good, real good, so
KFC, so good for everyone.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Oh my, what an inventory list, and so unnecessary. But wait, your home contents are all insured by Be Sure. That means that you determine the amount you want to insure. No inventory list, no hassle.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Hey Bob, you're on family vacation. Oh, but your daughter's got the measles. But don't worry about it. With your Be Sure travel insurance, children under 12 are covered for free.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah, for free.
Life is a journey full of connections. You're in safe hands even when life starts too soon. You don't have to miss a single beat. When a bad hair day makes you sad, just sharing can bring you joy and more to come. They take the plunge, turn fear into faith, while you capture those beautiful moments. In the game of life, it's family that counts. They'll be there even when you lose. We all have our moments of reflection and hope. And when you feel you're losing everything in life, we're there because there's more to come. When life starts too soon, you don't have to miss a single beat. We're here to connect you and share life. Telcel, when you want more.
The Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports Affairs has not only since the matter became public, but even before that has been informing the members of parliament that support the coalition of her efforts with respect to the concerns and the issues that our teachers of the public schools have. Even personally, I have been approached for some time now by teachers in the system with respect to their concerns, things that they are concerned about, matters pertaining to them as far as contracts are concerned, sick leave, and I mean, you name it. So, however, one of the major issues for the teachers seems to be with the way that the public school system is managed by the person in charge. I know a proposal has been put forward, not officially, I have seen it in the press, for a closed door meeting of Parliament. Personally, I don't think that is necessary. As I explained before, as a Parliament, we should hear from our minister what exactly is the situation, and not only what is the situation, but how are the concerns and the issues that our teachers in the public schools especially are facing, how are these concerns being dealt with. And as I mentioned before, the minister has been answering to our queries where that is concerned, but an issue remains. And to use the proverbial saying, the cat is out of the bag in terms of how the teachers feel about how that particular division is being managed. And important now is to know from the minister how she's going to deal with that particular aspect, the management and the person in charge. So again, we are looking forward to continuously get updates. We know that the minister is working on it, quite aware. She comes from that environment. The minister comes from that environment. So I'm sure nothing that she's hearing today would surprise her or is new for her. But in any case, as members of parliament, and especially those supporting the coalition, all we need to make sure is that we keep our finger on the pulse in terms of how are these concerns and issues being addressed. Again, I want to state that I don't believe there is any need for a closed door session of Parliament. I have heard the stories of teachers. We know where the pain is, and we look forward to the government and our minister dealing with these matters as the minister has been doing for quite some time now, I must add.
The ministry continues to do all that is necessary to collaborate within the ministry as well as with all stakeholders involved to find viable solutions for the ongoing concerns faced by public schools, as well as, I'm sure many read the newspapers this morning, the initiative was brought about via many interventions, and I must thank the Prime Minister in being able to secure that meeting with the school bus owners. Prior to that, it was the intention of the ministry to host open dialogue with the bus drivers, but it was brought across as if they had been ongoing and that the bus drivers were aware. So seeing that we were negligent in informing them in a timely manner, we did host them in a meeting last evening, the School Bus Owners Association. The majority of the board, 7 members, were present, and they were able to bring across their views, their concerns, along the entire spectrum. The ministry was also well represented and were able to explain the reasoning behind of trying to bring regulation to something that has been going ad hoc, basically, for many, many, many years. The school bus owners also reiterated that they have been in several meetings with different ministries. As many know, the Ministry of TIAT were the ones that initially dealing with the school buses, but the budget always came from the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports. So back in 2013, during my first tenure, it was brought to my attention then, and we sought to put the responsibility where it should be in terms of who's paying should be responsible. Yet that proper collaboration never really happened, and so therefore at times the association was meeting with the Ministry of TIAT, at other times meeting with different persons within the Ministry of Education, and there was not enough synchronization going on. However, I have promised the School Bus Owners Association that dialogue will remain open between us, between the ministries, as well as between the government and them, so we will have a united front in dealing with them. But that it is inevitable that we bring some regulation to this, as this is something that falls directly under the ministry's responsibility. Not only that, we are held accountable as ministers for the funds that we expend, and up to now, funds are being expended without any types of contracts and the like, which then the minister can be held liable for. So I do not want to leave myself open for any type of personal liability where that is concerned. It should not be the case, especially since 10-10-10. We should have regulated this a long time ago. And so for that, as a sitting minister now, I will take responsibility for the government in that, but we cannot shirk our responsibilities in bringing regulations. It is, and I reiterate once more, not the intention of government to take the bread out of anybody's mouths. But we must be very realistic. Education, culture, youth, and sports, while it has a vast chunk of the budget, it must be spent in a proper manner. And every taxpayer would like to know that their tax dollars, guilders, are going towards the proper execution of the services that government has to pay for. And if we are overpaying for busing and we cannot provide the services on the education level, then we are doing an injustice to the students of St. Martin, and therefore we must find ways to regulate this.
Third quadripartite meeting, which is a meeting between the Dutch government, the French government, the St. Martin government, and the government of the collectivité, so North and South St. Martin, French and Dutch. The first quadripartite was held in the Netherlands. The second one was held on French St. Martin. The third one will be held in Philipsburg, and the fourth one then would be scheduled for sometime next year in Paris, as it was agreed upon that the meeting will rotate every year in one of the different territories. This year, the meeting will be held next week, Wednesday, and it will start right here in the AC Watty Hall from 8 o'clock in the morning. So as such, we will not have any press briefing next week. We do apologize up front for that. Some of the issues that we will be discussing in the quadripartite would have to do with military cooperation, so the general overview and the status of the agreement that exists. We will also be discussing the border control issues between the two sides of the island, police cooperation. As you know, there is a signed agreement on police cooperation, and now the discussion will be continued on the implementation of it. Also, one of the issues would be treaties that are in preparation and the cross-border cooperation between the two sides of the island, which will include things such as education, healthcare, social welfare. We also want to actually establish a cooperation structure between St. Martin, both sides, and also the French side, because there is quite some presence, if you want to put it that way, of the French government and French influence through the Préfet. So we want to establish a cooperation structure.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Speech by the minister, the presentation by the minister. The minister talked about raising, excavating roads, waterways, demolition of structures, filling in of waterways. Madam Chair, besides the possibility to add to this list the things like rock walls, which are so important to our culture, right? I would like to say that when you read the ordinance, and I'm talking about Article 28A, the first piece, it talks about opgraven, ophogen, egaliseren of het doen springen van bodem. Madam Chair, when we translate this, you can say that a person that is busy digging up their land, and maybe for the purpose of doing some agriculture, that person would also need a permit. And when you talk about the building of a structure, in this case, someone who building a shed in the back of the house, and it can be a small one, there is no deviation, there is no guidelines in this ordinance to indicate what you need to specifically have a permit for and what you do not need to have a permit for. And I said that because I asked the minister to repeat, because according to me, when I listen to the minister in his presentation, he talks about when you are going to do civil work, more like going to build something, when you're going to excavate. But Madam Chair, the normal digging of the ground, the normal heaping up of material is also mentioned in the law. And we need to understand what we are telling the people that we are going to regulate under this ordinance and what we are not going to regulate under the ordinance. Madam Chair, also very important is when we look at Article 4, it says the minister can give permission. It means that the Council of Ministers is not the body that will give the permission here. So I would propose a change that somehow the broader sense of, instead of the minister, I would have loved to see here in somehow where the Council of Ministers also have a say in this.